set this up because one of the hardest things that I've experienced being in that seat or being part of the group, whenever you go and you experience something, it's really hard to put it into pictures. Don't tell the full story. We can't try to encompass a full trip that we just spent 7 straight, very full days with one another in Guatemala. And so sometimes this can just come off like, yes, we've heard this all before. And so I think that's the challenge. So I invite you to try to hear a little bit differently. This was a new experience for us, especially our hermano Tuttle up here. Floyd what trip was this to Guatemala? This is number 16 for Floyd. But this was a new organization we worked with. So it was a fresh experience in many ways. And I think that will come out here as we share a little this morning. And so we're just going to try to guide our conversation a little bit with some questions. I'm going to give everyone a chance, but we won't force them to speak if they don't want to. But we might strong arm a little bit. So we'll just try to share some highlights, and I know Floyd has some different things to share. Do you want to start with that? Okay, yeah.
Just so everyone knows, Matt put that video together at 2 o'clock this morning. We were assembling photos on the plane on the way back, so it actually turned out really well. I just wanted to give an overview because I know a lot of people that have been here for a few years. We've worked with a different organization before. We worked with the Calderones, and the Calderones are absolutely awesome. I love them. This is a different style of trip, and it's a different ministry that we're working with this year. They're working in the local area to help in a more sustainable way, to help change their lives. And they have a feeding program. They host dental clinics, medical clinics. The person that runs, the local person in Guatemala that runs this has a counseling degree, and she has a counseling service. She's also involved in the schools, so they have a feeding program in the schools that they do. If you have questions afterwards, I would love to talk to you about Give and Teach. We didn't know what to expect before we got there because all we could do would be read on it and talk to Mike Claypool, the person that founded it. But their goal is to change the people's lives in a more sustainable way while sharing the gospel with them. So it was really cool to be a part of it. So hopefully we can embrace this ministry, and I look forward to serving with them in the future. So
I muted my mic so I don't talk too much. But yeah, it was unique too. Just such a different experience, but yet still going to Guatemala and so many overlapping pieces too. So yeah, I just want to, again, the group will get a chance to share here. So typically, and these would be the conversations you would have with any one of these, and you could still have with any of our folks one-on-one, but maybe consider sharing 1 or 2 of your top highlights from this particular trip. So don't know if you're putting them all on the spot here a little bit. Maybe a top highlight. Make sure it's also it needs to be. Just push and hold. Push and hold. Nope. Push and hold. Push and hold.
Turn it
Now
on,
you're good.
and then you can leave it alone.
Testing?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Get it right up in there.
Oh my gosh.
Right up in there.
1 or 2 experiences, I just can't even limit it to 1 or 2. It's overwhelming, it's emotional, it is so far away from where we live, and I came back this morning and I feel like I'm distinctly in another world from what I just experienced. I just wish I could have a pill and I could give it to you, and then your brain could connect with where I've been.
Yeah.
Because there's just really no way to vocalize and to get it across how severely people are impoverished and in trouble. So I think one of the top highlights for me was actually being with a medical and a dental team. And it was thrilling to see how we could come together with them and work to serve the community. And it was amazing how many people lined up to get those services, like getting their teeth pulled or coming because they had aches and pains. And to have that staff right there was just incredible. But on another level, our team, we built 2 houses. And when I say house, I came back to my house and it's just culture shock because my bathroom is like 2/3 the size of the house that we built. And I'm just incredibly amazed that somebody can live in a 4x4 house. And this, from where they were coming from, it was a castle compared to what these people were living in. Really, the first house was poles and a tarp over the roof. She was living there with her 3 children, and Then we built this house that has a lock and a door. No running water, nothing like that, no indoor plumbing, no toilets, but, so those are really two highlights, so. Anybody else right now? I'm not gonna monopolize the microphone. I could be up here talking for 4 hours.
I want to jump in real quick and make mention of, because it's always hard to set all that up. We were working with a group from Ann Arbor, a dental group. Is that where you're going to mention? I want to make sure we mention.
No, we're on the same page. I was
Yes,
just gonna say the
a
same
dental
thing.
group. So we had, were there nine? 9 from there?
There were 8 from Ann.
8 from Ann Arbor.
8 from Ann Arbor. We had a maxillofacial surgeon from Alabama that joined us. So we originally set the date for this trip, and then it was really cool to watch how God assembled this team, because if you saw in the pictures, there were actually 20 team members on our team, so we were only part of it. So once we scheduled the date, then all these other people just started to join in, and it just made for a really cool.
Yeah.
We had a MD and his wife from North Carolina, that his wife is an RN, that she's now a teaching RN. They were there. They've been on probably, I think he said 52 mission trips around the world. They were there doing a medical clinic. There was another RN that joined us that had been down there before. She just heard about the trip and she signed up. And then we were at the airport, and I was wondering who these 2 strangers were that were putting luggage on our bus, and it turned out that they were there were a couple from North Carolina that networked with Mike Claypool, and they just wanted to join our team. They were originally from Puerto Rico. They were fluent in Spanish, and they just joined us, and they helped us with construction and evangelism, and it was really cool to see how things came together, but we were just part of it. There were 20 people on our team this year.
Yeah. I want to just piggyback on this. So this dental clinic, one of my top moments, although, you're experiencing your own experience. So building homes, doing VBS, the things that in painting homes, like we had some really key moments too, but it was really fun to watch the dental and the medical clinics happening. We tend to take, those of us who have still some teeth in our mouths, we take that for granted, that we can go to the dentist every time it hurts, right? Like we can get in there, they'll even plug in an emergency and get you going. There's so many people, and even young kiddos, like dealing with tooth pain and decay that's already started, infection and all that, and just the amount they were able to remedy, and watching the care that they were giving to these people that never get to go to the dentist. They don't take they don't have the dollars or don't take that opportunity, and that was just a special moment to get to watch that. And then Dr. Bill, who is the MD, just the care, and there's the picture in there. I know Floyd took the picture of him just with the stethoscope, listening to the lungs of a little girl, and it was just really powerful watching that care, deep compassion. It moved these people to spend some really long hours, because they didn't get many breaks because the line was huge, whether we were in the village where we built the homes or whether we were at our home base in that village that was invited in. That was kind of my highlight that I think really was meaningful. So I'll let somebody else go ahead, Ray.
This is my 4th trip. Each time I go on this trip, I come back with a more deep and spiritual, emotional feeling. It's awesome to do a trip with a church family. It was an awesome time doing a trip with this group. I really appreciate what Floyd does for this ministry. He does an awesome job. I enjoy going on mission trips with him. It's something a lot of people need to experience. It has changed your life. It has mine.
We'll kind of just I'll keep moving a little bit here with us, but you can always jump in. But so it could be highlights, or were there any surprises, anything that really caught your attention? This surprised me. I was not prepared for this thing. Any surprises on this trip for anyone? Go ahead if you want to, Susan. Susan's a sharer. I like that about Susan.
I am. So at the site where my team, Ray was on my team, and Kelly and John and Floyd and Matt were on the other construction team, and we had people from the community joining to help us understand the construction in Guatemala. It's far different from our construction here. The wood is far different. We were using eucalyptus wood. But anyway, what struck me at my site is that, I can't even describe this, the children were so excited, and they sat there all day watching us. And I thought to myself, there would be day, there wouldn't be a day where my family would sit that long and watch something like this. And they were so excited as they watched their house being built. Every day they were just so excited. So the really important thing to me is that by the end, and we had a virus going through our house. It's a long story. We had Montezuma's Revenge and different viruses coursing through the house, so various people were waylaid. But in my particular site, the second day, the little girls started making friends with me, and so I hear, hola, and I'm looking, and I don't know where it is coming from, and they're hiding up on the hill behind me. And so then I catch them, and finally they climb down the hill, and they're standing at the corner, and I am trying to wield a hammer, and we're hammering and nails because the house was put together with nails and hammer, no drills, you know. It was unbelievable, but these little girls gathered in the corner, and now they're coming forward, and then they start to pick up nails off the ground, and they're bringing them to me. And it was so empowering to me to be able to be a role model for these little girls that have nothing, to say this is something you can look at and see that women can do these things. Because in Guatemala, the women are not treated, I mean, they have a role in society, but very, very at the bottom. Not as bad as Afghanistan, but not elevated at all.
So Vacation Bible School in Guatemala is way different than what you guys think of Vacation Bible School. Like, we have all these fancy computers and TV monitors that we use to teach our kids, but I tried very hard not to overplan. I think I did good. I think I was to not like overthink it, because they tell you the kids love coloring, and you're like, whatever, kids love coloring, yeah. You give our kids a sheet of paper, and they're like, no, they love to color, like meticulous, color a sheet of paper, and the different colors. They were very excited about Maiko, which we had a couple pictures of him, watching him interact with the kids, because he was with me. Translator, yes, he was a translator. But he did the music as well, and he was with me in the teaching session, and I'd start saying something and then wait for him to translate it, and it took him a really long time to translate it. And I'm like, what did you just say? He goes, it's okay. But just to step back and, like, you know, I started the conversation, and then he had a conversation with the kids and watched them interact. And they're so patient. They're just, most of them. You still have some that don't want to pay attention, but they're kids. Hugs are universal language, so Miss Kelly hugs are now famous in Guatemala too. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Yeah, we had really fantastic translators, and that was some of the organizational piece of Give and Teach that made our just a really easy going and serving was that. Just some really fun young. I don't know. They're like 20-year-olds or ish. That we had, maybe 25-year-olds, and they were a lot of fun. So the translators were great, easy to work with, became our good friends. I mean, the last day we were there, we got to do a little bit of tourist-type stuff, and Maiko, one of them that was in there in many of the photos, leading the music and stuff, got to come with us, and it was so nice to just get to hang out with him a little bit, too. That was just a really neat connection, one-on-one with him. As we think about this, any surprises? Also, did you learn anything new about yourself on this trip? Sometimes it's interesting to you get out of your element a little bit and maybe learn something new about yourself. Anyone? That's a tough question. We're asking you to be pretty transparent and vulnerable here in front of everybody. I have to do that often, so too bad. Yeah, Susan again. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. Testing again. I guess the biggest thing I learned when I first arrived, and we had a lot of very professional people around us with varying degrees, oral surgeons, very people with just intense knowledge about going on mission trips and helping people. And I was sitting there the first day, and I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Because I can't do the same thing that those people are offering. I don't have that background. I don't have the acumen. And I learned that it was okay that I was there, because every one of us in this room has something to give. And any one of you could do the same thing and go down there, and you would find a niche and have something to give, something to share. And I had to get over that the first day because I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, what did I do? And then, of course, when we're doing the construction about 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, what did I do? What am I doing here? It was very challenging. Right, Ray? Sitting there, oh my gosh. And then when we are building, we had various people from the team joining us, some of the doctors and such. So there was this weird push and pull of people wanting to share their knowledge and then also respecting the people from the country who had knowledge. Our first day on the site was very challenging and a lot of discussion going on. And the second day was much better, right, Ray? Can you add on to this at all?
Yes, the second day was much better. One of the funniest things that happened is this Angel was the El Jefe of the building site.
He's the boss.
One of the
Foreman.
dentists is named Steve. He's from Ann Arbor. He fired him, I don't know, like 30, 40 times during the week we were there. That was funny.
Yeah, Angel definitely knew what he was doing, was running the show, and one of the Ann Arbor doctors, one of the dentists. Yeah, Steve was ambitious and trying to do things a little differently, and it was fun to watch that dynamic.
He also tried to
Angel doesn't speak a
overthink
lot of
things.
English, but you clearly knew he was not thrilled with Steve, so that was kind of part of the fun there.
But I had Michael translate for me to Angel, and I said it was awesome working with him. I told him to tell him I would take him home in my heart. It was his guidance on building the house was very appreciative. He said he thanked me for all my work. He thanked me for being there. That's awesome to hear something like that.
Yeah, there is many. I don't know what there's a level of hospitality there, that just the appreciation that you experience, that you quickly feel part. There's a sense of belonging, and that's pretty impressive because we are just a bunch of gringos from the northern country here, and just dropping in on them, and so I really do appreciate that. You're right. That's that sense of belonging and appreciation. Go ahead, Philippe.
So, to answer some questions you might have in your mind, the people that get these houses, it's a long process. Sometimes it's up to a year. And Mary Cruz, the counselor, she works closely with the schools to determine the need and to find candidates that may need a house. So the people that got the houses this time, one of them is a pastor and his wife and children, and that's the one that Ray and Susan worked on. And then the one that we worked on, Matt and Jennifer and Kelly and I, she was a widow. Her husband passed away 8 years ago. Her only income right now is she's washing clothes and things to help out, to make ends meet. But like a median income down there in this area, they may make, a few $100s a month. And the cost of things is about the same as it is here. So a gallon of gas is the same as it is here. If you want to go to McDonald's, it costs the same as it is here. And yes, there are McDonald's all over the place down there. So they're scraping to make ends meet. So when we do a house, we actually send the money ahead for the house. So we supply all the materials. The people that get the house are responsible for having the foundation done by the time we get there. Sometimes that involves them tearing down their house to build this foundation and then waiting for us to get there and put this up. So when they get the house, they also receive, we put in 2 beds in each of the houses, and then a table and chairs. For us, it would be the cheap patio stuff, the plastic chairs and the plastic table, but this is their new furniture. And the widow that we worked with had a son and a daughter, and the son, I love the way things come together, and I won't get choked up, promise. It came out as we were talking that he wanted to be a mechanic and he wanted to work on cars, and he was there working with me. So we buddied up for a few days. But this kid is so bright, and I showed him I would do something one way, and whether I was doing it right or not, I have no idea. But I would do it one way, and I would, and then I would have him do it, and he watched the way I did it, and he did it the same way. So we just had a long conversation about, this is how, if you want to be a really good mechanic in this world, find someone that's good at it, watch and train with them. But it's like, the way things come together on these trips is just really, really awesome. And the way that Give and Teach has this laid out, there's a template for the house. So anyone can build it. They always have a foreman there that will help you read the plans. But if you can cut wood and if you can swing a hammer, you can build a house. And I'm not saying anything, taking away from it, but even Kelly put in a window.
I did. I have a window in Guatemala. It's my window.
Jen and Kelly hung a door with Mike's help, or they helped Mike. You guys were doing the hinges. I saw you. You put the hinges on.
We
So
did put the hinges on the door. You are correct.
everyone can participate in this. Some of the trips we've done before, we're mixing mud and doing block, and we're trying to find things for people to do. This is one where they tailor it to your skill set. So this summer they have a group of school teachers that are coming down that are going to work just teaching. They've got a group of guys coming down that are going to do just houses. They've got just medical groups. They've got all these different trips, and they've got it set up to where, which was a surprise to me, it's easy to just plug people in. They are the group leader when you're there. They have everything. They've got such structure that it's easy to plug people in. So if we had 2 people that wanted to go on a trip this summer and build a house, we could probably plug someone into one of their groups. So that's Michael. But I think this will be a long-standing relationship that we have with them. So Mike Claypool is the state pastor for the Carolinas, North and South Carolina. He's kind of like what our Bill Jones was for a number of years. He's kind of like the overseer for the Church of God. He and his wife started this ministry 15-ish years ago. And his wife is a school teacher, and that's why they're working with school teachers. He's got a construction background. It kind of all came together.
Yeah. Echo all that. Good stuff. That's Alex right there, the young man who
Awesome kid.
Floyd got to work with. We're not going to belabor this because, again, many connected families and people to our folks who went. So I'd encourage you over the next so many weeks, ask them some questions. Let them talk to you. I think they will. But why? That's always a good question. Why go to Guatemala? Why go on a mission experience like this? What would be a why to how we're going to answer that question? Because that's what we ask, right? I mean, that's a fair question. Well, why? Okay. Why are you guys? Why would I consider that?
I can answer that, man.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ray. Needs a microphone.
Because Jesus Christ, he said, you help the least of these, you're helping me. And that's the reason why.
Yeah.
That's what he wants us to do. Help those who are in need. That's our job as a Christian.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any other thoughts on that? Anyone? Yeah. Why go to Guatemala? Why go on a mission experience? We go to Kentucky as well. Lynn leads the charge on some trips down there. We venture outside of the building here. We host even, it's not a mission trip, but goodness, once a month we host quite a few folks here on the grounds. Al, I see a question. We'll open that up, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. I think yes.
That's
is
a simple answer, yes.
For folks online, Al asked, who benefits more? The folks there, the native folks in Guatemala, or those of us who would go on the trip? And the answer is yes. Yeah. I think it is. It's a pretty reciprocal connection like that.
So I can kind of sum the. I learned so much on these trips, and it's like the first few trips I went, I thought that I was going to go and I was going to teach people and stuff, and it's like once I'm staring at Kim because Kim got me started on this, so quit staring at me, Kim. Anyway, Mike Claypool used a term on this trip that summed it all up for me, because it would be so easy for us just to send money and pay the local builders to go and build a house. It would be easy for us to just farm this stuff out, and it would probably help their economy. However, we're taking away the ministry of presence. That term, the ministry of presence, that's Kentucky. That's the food truck. That's Guatemala. It's us being there, showing love and taking our time and spending time with these people and looking them in the eye. That the relationship I have with Alex, the relationship that doctor had with that little girl that he was checking her lungs, the relationship that we have with the Lacey's in Kentucky, and the children in the program, the children that Dot has adopted that she's been able to meet while she's there. That's the ministry of presence. Yeah. To me, that was just such a huge, I mean, it's a simple phrase, but it's so encompassing.
Agreed. And so encouragement here also, because I like that. I'm glad you got to say it, so I didn't have to talk as long. That doesn't mean you have to go on a mission trip.
No.
hear that. You don't have to go on a mission trip, but you are not excluded from the ministry of presence. Everyone's got to show up. I'd like to thank you at the end of every gathering, and I'll probably do it when we dismiss here today, for being here. You have to show up. You don't get to sit on the sidelines. And I'm not saying you shaking a finger, I'm saying us. If you love Jesus, there's a call to show up and to participate in the ministry of your presence. What Ray alluded to is the account of the sheep and the goats. And Jesus is giving this picture, a little parable, a story about what it could be like, what we might refer to at the great judgment day. And the whole point of that is the ministry of presence. It's compassion and kindness is what Jesus, God in flesh, prioritizes. That's his priorities. And you got to show up to do that. So anyway, I love that too, because that's what I felt like this whole trip was just that. We had this amazing group of 20 people that came together, some quirky personalities, as you would expect. And so it's not like it was perfect unity, but it was unity. It wasn't like a perfect bonding experience, but like there was working together, there was encouragement to be had. So in some ways, I think my connection with the translators, with you all, with the group, and then some individuals that we got to meet along the way, like that's a reminder of the gift that it is to be with one another, to look at each other in the eye and see a human sitting across from you, and to express care and love and genuine just compassion and kindness. So, yeah, I agree with all that. So I was going to try not to talk, and I still talked as long as you. So, Charlie, you can be our last question. Does Ray snore when he's sleeping? A little bit. Not too bad. We had someone else that was snoring, and they ended up sleeping in a closet the rest of the week. They volunteered, but they were pretty loud. We did have a loud snorer, and he was very kind and moved on out of the room. So, yeah.
Sum it up.
Yeah, I think just, yeah. Do you want to? Yeah. Anybody else before we let Floyd kind of bookend this time this morning? Yeah, there really was a good bond between the groups, as much as you can do in a week's time, but it did feel like we made some friends that we could possibly work with again. Okay, I'm going to let Floyd wrap up after one last Charlie. Go ahead.
Dave, how do you feel when you had to quit by yourself?
Oh, Dave, I think Dave missed, if I can talk for, I'm going to guess that Dave missed Kelly, maybe a tiny bit more than Kelly missed Dave. She was busy. I'm sure Dave did miss her. Yeah, that's pretty funny, Charlie. Cool, go ahead,
So
Floyd. Thanks. Yeah.
I'll just kind of sum it up with there's an excitement amongst everyone up here, including Jen, who's tired. So everyone who's Jen. So everyone up here had an experience that they want to share with someone, and I know Kelly has way more than what she's sharing right now. So if you want to talk to someone,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you all the time about this kind of stuff because I absolutely love this. So just connect with one of us. Give and teach. I hope that we can keep their name on our tongues and support them because I think that this is a great ministry. So to connect that, they sell coffee, and spur of the moment, I decided to buy $500 worth of Give and Teach coffee that they do for their fundraiser. So I brought it back. If you would like some, I've got a table out there. So it's $15 a bag. If you want some, that would be awesome. It all goes to support them. They supported with they partnered with a local farmer. So it's packaged. It's actually really good coffee.
It's the best coffee you can drink.
It's in a fancy, collector bag. So, but yeah, if you want to, have any conversations with any of us, we would all love to chat with you about it. If you want to pray about it, if you think that it might be something that you want to do in the future, I think there probably will be future trips with Give and Teach. Everyone can do this if it's something that you're called to do. So,
Yeah. Thanks, Floyd. Yeah. I don't want to do a recap. Just feel free to chat us up anytime. If you just other questions, things happening. It was a good time. Thanks, friends, for being part. It was a really easy. This group was really fun and really easy, and that doesn't always happen. Yeah. You mix adults, you never know. Oh, that is true. That'll be good individual conversations because, yes, that'll give us, you should talk to us about that. That was Thursday night. We didn't even talk about that. But anyway, I'm going to invite you to stand. And let's pray and be dismissed from this space at this time. Again, as I said, I was